Hi, I am Dylan Kiley from the Home Button, and this is Game of the Year list for me. Number 10. Number 10 is Mortal Kombat 10. I don't really care about the Mortal Kombat storyline, but the mechanics are really cool, and I've always wanted a horror fighting game, and that's basically what this is becoming. Also, it has a lot of they, I believe, use the Skullgirls engine or netcode or something for this version, which is, rad. And you can play as Jason, and Jason is the best. And we just found out that they're adding the Xenomorph and Leatherface, so that alone is reason. Predator's in the game. It's the horror fighting game that we never got that I've always wanted. Number 9. Number 9 is Soma by Frictional Games. I never finished Amnesia, and I have really no intention to finish Amnesia, but I don't want to say I got tricked into playing Soma, but I just wound up playing it with some friends. And as a huge System Shock fan, Soma is, a pretty great, modern kind of System Shocky game. Obviously, it lacks a lot of like the gameplay features, but the aesthetic is really, like pretty heavily there. And it's like a genuinely creepy game, especially because water levels were never my thing. So the thalassophobia is very present. I haven't actually finished this game, so I've heard it gets a lot, weirder. So I'm very excited to move forward. But, I didn't play a lot of games this year, so Soma goes on the list at number 9. Yes. Number 8. Number 8 is Lethal League, and that's a game. It's a fighting game where you hit people with baseballs. It's kind of like the Ganon fight at the end of Zelda, and it's a lot of fun, especially like couch multiplayer. You get to play as a robot on a skateboard. He's my favorite, and it's just like a really unique take on fighting games. There's been a lot of indie fighters that are kind of like trying to like mix it up, like Dive Kick, and this definitely falls into that category. So if that's the thing you're interested in, Lethal League is a pretty rad time, and it's always exciting to get the ball going really, really fast. Number 7. All right, number 7 is Sunless Sea. It's a game by a company, and I believe it started off as a text-based online adventure game. But now this is like their first like game release, and it plays kind of like a text-based online adventure game, except for you get to drive a boat around. A lot of the game is just like choosing, menu options, but it's like super involved as far as the story goes. There's like something like 50 original quests that are, or 50,000 original. I don't know. There's a big number of quests that you can undergo. And it's a lot of like really cool like Lovecraft, boat stuff. It can be a pretty genuinely funny game at times too, so recommend. Number 6. Fallout 4 is number 6. I gotta keep doing the hand thing now because I've already started it. And Fallout 4, I was really unimpressed by it when I first started playing. I thought the pacing on the beginning was really, really bad. But nothing beats, punching dogs to death in Boston. So by now I've spent like kind of a lot of time with it. I just deleted my account, my file on accident while trying to clear out my computer. But I had spent a lot of time with it. So, it's where this game shines is really like, I guess like the world building, and I'm admittedly talking a bit out of my ass here. I don't know, it's just like a fun game to play. I like open world stuff. Fallout games have always been a thing I've enjoyed. I've never really gotten into any of the Elder Scrolls games. I guess I like the world of the Fallout games more. It is a Bethesda game, but it feels a little deeper than past installments. I think a lot of the changes they made were, pretty good. And also, I mean, I just like to punch stuff. So throw on a podcast, go around punching some stuff. There's really big monsters now, which are a lot of fun to fight. And yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this game that hasn't already been said by, bigger people who get paid to do this. But I did get to watch my wife die, so that's always a good time.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Sonic Dreams Collection. And, I grew up as a Sonic fan, and seeing the latest release in the Sonic series, I'm just really happy it was this good. Sonic's had a hard time with all their other games. Some of them weren't so good, but this one, I really got into the action of texting your lover or, giving birth. Those are some features that were pretty absent from previous Sonic releases. And, I think it's nice that they finally included them for us diehard Sonic fans. I haven't actually beaten this one either. We never got to the Eggman, the online mode, the multiplayer game. But what I have played of this game was, a very enjoyable experience. I got to give birth and be born, and when it comes down to it, that's all I can ask for a Sonic game.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Lakeview Cabin Collection. It's a really cool puzzle game. Put out by Switzerland. I don't know, some indie guy, and it's like a really, unique take on the survival horror stuff. And I got into it right around the time I was getting really into slasher movies and the idea of slashers. So if you're really hyped for the new Friday the 13th game, or you really enjoyed Until Dawn, this is very different from both of those, but it's a great time. It's a lot kind of like that drawing game, Scribblenauts, but without the drawing or the scribbling or a lot of what makes that game that. But it's like a cool, 8-bit. That's fucking up. That's not 8-bit. I don't know why I just became a trash person. It's like a cool retro puzzle slasher horror fun time.
Number 3.
Number 3, Until Dawn. Fantastic game. Definitely a game that I did not think was going to be as good as it was, but we wound up pretty much beating it in one playthrough, in one sitting. It's definitely a game you have to play with a large group of friends. It's kind of like the modern idea of what slasher movies were back when they were big. You just grab a ton of friends and sit around and have a great time. At one point I seriously thought the neighbors were going to call the cops on us for how much one of our friends was screaming. It's not a particularly horrifying Silent Hill type game, but it's a lot of fun, and it's genuinely good at building the atmosphere around it. And yeah, it's games are supposed to be fun, and that's what this gets right above all else.
Number 2.
Next up is Pathologic Classic HD, which is my cheating way of just saying I'm only recently playing the copy of Pathologic in its original form that I've had forever. But the HD version, looks very nice. Basically, Pathologic is kind of like a depressing, Russian novel version of Skyrim, where instead of being a fun medieval romp, you're a doctor trying to stop the new Black Plague from killing everybody in town. And a lot of it is really weird and nihilist and existential and all sorts of other philosophical things. I went to school. So a lot of it is just so far All I've done is walk from place to place and talk to people. I've gotten in 0 fights, but that's fine. The game very much has like a living, breathing world to it, and it's like very oppressive in the way that only games, that are only like adventure games from like the late 90s and early 2000s like seem to kind of capture. It kind of has like that System Shock vibe to it, but yeah, a lot of it's just been like walking and talking, and it's still like an amazingly involving game that feels very unforgiving and very surreal all at once. I've never read a whole lot of Kafka, but like it feels very Kafkaesque. So that's Pathologic. Also, they're remaking it up for the next gen. So check out their Kickstarter or something. Yeah.
Number 1.
My number 1 game of the year is Megaman X4, not from the classic collection. Not from like the Mega Man X collection, but just in general. It's the game I've played most this year, and it's just been a great time. Like it's got tons of replayability. You get to play as Zero and Mega Man X, and both have like little changes to their gameplay style as well as like the story itself. I'm actually not finished my Mega Man X run to tell you how different it is, but according to Nate, you fight completely different end bosses as X and Zero. I'm finishing up my Zero playthrough right now, and the game is completely unforgiving. It's a weird, it's like, this was one of the first games I remember playing for the PlayStation. Back when you could rent PlayStations from Blockbuster, and we decided one weekend to rent a PlayStation. So I just stayed up all night playing Mega Man X4. So it's been like kind of cool to relive that, and the voice acting is horrendous. Everyone sounds weird and like kind of British, as if like British people were putting on a British accent or an Australian accent that was making fun of their own accent. And yeah, it's just been a lot. My hands hurt all the time, and I almost beat the game in one sitting, but I didn't want the game to know that I didn't have that much going on in my life. So yeah, it's the best game I've played this year. And that's why it's my game of the year 2015. And it'll probably be my game of the year 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20. It's not my favorite game, but it's definitely the best game.